Even though X019 is officially over, the flow of information hasn't stopped. Phil Spencer had a couple interviews with The Verge and Eurogamer, where not only did he put his foot down on the necks of toxic clowns regarding the success of Game Pass, but also coming out there talking about how they won't be beat on power and price regarding Xbox Scarlett versus the PlayStation 5, and I wanted to talk about that. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Randall419, the man with the million, back again with another video. If you do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, if you want to know my full thoughts about X019, you can check out the previous video. But in this one, we're going to focus on two aspects from Phil Spencer's big interviews from Eurogamer and The Verge. But I'm going to get first into the stuff regarding Game Pass, because it's something I see every single day on social media, whether it's in the comments section of my podcast with Jez Corden, the Xbox 2, or whether it's people replying to tweets to the Xbox Game Pass Twitter account, or maybe the discussion about it on Reset Era. People seem to really have concern about Game Pass. They're concerned that Microsoft isn't making enough money. They're concerned that the games they're going to be producing within that subscription service are going to be subpar. And you know what? Phil Spencer basically crushed these toxic turds in only a way that he could. In the nicest way possible, Phil basically said, you know what? Shut up and play your games. Now, Eurogamer starts off this question talking about Jim Ryan, because recently, as we know, the PlayStation boss has added God of War and Uncharted 4 to PlayStation Now, but they won't add, at least currently, any of the new exclusives like Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima to PlayStation Now. And Jim Ryan's quote was, "Given how some of our first-party IP is incredibly special and valuable, we just want to treat them with amazing care and respect and have those launches be clean and pure." Now, a lot of people took that as Jim Ryan taking a shot at Xbox. And the question from Eurogamer was, hey, does putting on a subscription platform day and date detract from the sense of it being this big, great first-party title? And of course, Phil Spencer says, that's ridiculous. It has it in any form of media. I don't think people look at Game of Thrones and say somehow it wasn't quality because it shipped inside of subscription. I think most people will look at the amount of investment and the quality of execution that happens in TV, at least in a subscription, as being incredibly high. That's right. Think about that statement, that the game is better because it's not in a subscription service. Oh, I'm sorry, the Death Stranding, which isn't in a subscription service, didn't that score lower than Gears 5? Did Days Gone, a game that also didn't launch in a subscription service, didn't that come out at a 71, lower than Gears 5, which is currently in a subscription service and is rated higher? That's something to think about. And also, when you look at, subscription services on TV or via like streaming, Netflix, some of the best shows currently airing right now are via subscriptions, whether it's Stranger Things, whether it's Watchmen. The best content that you can get are part of the subscription services. And I never thought for a single second, man, I'm only paying $10 a month. These shows they're putting into these subscription services have to be fodder. They're not any good. It's a completely baseless argument that people use to try to drag down the success of Game Pass and what Xbox is doing. And I like that Phil basically curb stomped that whole narrative into the ground. One of the other narratives that Phil wanted to crush in this interview was this idea that, you know what, gamers? Stop being concerned with my bottom line. Stop worrying about if I'm making money. Stop worrying about if developers have enough money to feed their children. I know you guys see it, because I do. You take a trip to Twitter, you visit Reset Era, you look at the comments on any Xbox channel's comment section, and it's all the same thing. Game Pass is trash. How is Microsoft making any money? They're giving this thing away for free. How are the developers able to pay their mortgages? It's all a bunch of toxic turds concern trolling. They're concerned about Xbox's bottom line. They're concerned about Microsoft, the trillion-dollar company. Oh my God, what is this going to do? Are they going to have enough money to continue on? What about this small indie developer that put everything in this game? Is now he's suddenly not going to be able to feed his dog because he's putting this game on Game Pass? It's absurd, and I'm glad to see Phil come out here and say this. And he basically said it in the nicest way possible. He goes on, the thing at the highest level, which will probably get me in trouble, is as gamers, you should focus on what you want, not focus on like my P&L, which is basically a profit and loss statement, or the P&L of the console you choose to invest in. I see this dialogue about somebody worried that somehow Xbox is going to make less money, or their console is going to make less money if they tell me a game is going to be on a different platform before it actually comes out, or it's going to be in a subscription, which is really what I want, but somehow that's going to mean less money for them. So I don't want them to do that because I'd rather pay more money. So you should focus on you as the gamer and the things that matter to you. We as the people running the business, I'm incented to run a good business inside Microsoft and in the long term. That's the other thing. I've seen people saying, you know what, I can't enjoy this game in this subscription. I have to spend $60 so I know it's a premium title. All that is, it's a bunch of fake concern from a bunch of toxic trolls, a bunch of cockroaches that come out on social media because they're unhappy with their life and their situation and they want to attack and drag down something. And it's right now, that target is Xbox Game Pass. You know what, and I'll say it like this, because it's going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but this is how these people sound to me. You know what, recently, I've been enjoying The Mandalorian. Disney Plus has come out, and they offer a free trial. And you know what, I took advantage of that free trial. In fact, I watched the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and you want to know what my first thought was while watching that show? I thought to myself, how is Disney going to make any money off this? Because I'm watching this show for free. I have the same thoughts about Netflix. I'm only paying $8 a month. You know, scratch that. I'm not even paying anything for Netflix because I'm on my buddy's plan. Everything I watch for Netflix is free. How is Netflix making any money? How is Hulu making any money? I digress. But anyways, back to Disney Plus. I started to think, man, Disney's going to lose a whole bunch of money because all these people are using free trials. What about these actors? What about Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian himself? Is he actually getting paid for his work in The Mandalorian? I heard that show was incredibly expensive, over $100 million to make. But everybody watching the show is on a free trial. How is Disney going to recoup this money? I'm worried. And of course, when you hear it like that, it comes across as absolutely childish and just uninformed. Okay, I think I've ranted enough about this whole Game Pass thing. But you know what? I love the fact that Phil came out here and crushed these fanboys, these toxic clowns, once and for all, talking about Game Pass. Even mentions how it's profitable and making money in the same interview. But just keep that in mind when you see certain people out on social media talking down about it, talking about how there's no good games that couldn't possibly in a subscription, talking about, oh, I got it for $1 for 3 months again. How is anybody making money? Worried that developers aren't getting paid, even though all the information we have from developers is that Game Pass is absolutely great, increases sales, and the only negative thing we heard about Game Pass is one publisher say, you know what, I wish I made more money from the deal. And I'm sure that's what everybody wants. I wish I made more money making this video. I wish I made more money at my job. Of course people are going to say that. People want more money, but we haven't heard anything negative currently about Game Pass. Is there maybe some, I don't know, weird future where something negative does happen regarding Game Pass? Sure. Can't rule that out. But right now, all the information, all the people talking about it, all the people who actually know, instead of these clowns on social media who know nothing, they all say Game Pass is great. And it's like what Phil said. Be concerned about what you want. If the games that Xbox makes don't appeal to you, don't talk about the platform. Who cares? Play what you want. Pay for the games that you want, if it's in a subscription or if it's not. Be concerned about what, your life is, your financial situation, and the games that you want to play. Don't worry about Microsoft. They'll be completely fine. Now moving on to next generation console, the Xbox Scarlett, they didn't talk about it at X019. Presumably we're going to have a media event early 2020, followed up by E3, a big blowout of everything that Xbox is planning for next gen. But one of the concerns people do have is with, hey, you know what, PlayStation 5's out here doing these things, they're talking about it. People are concerned about the power and the price aspect of Scarlett, considering how they launched the Xbox One. Overpriced and underpowered. And Phil had a couple quotes here I wanted to relay to you guys. You know, with The Verge, he says, I would say a learning from Xbox One generation is we will not be out of position on power or price. If you remember the beginning of the generation, we were $100 more expensive, and yes, we were less powerful. And we started Project Scarlett with this leadership team in place with the goal of having market success. Remember all those toxic pieces of garbage you said, oh my god, Microsoft is going streaming, don't support the console because it's gonna go away. Well, of course, Phil destroys that whole argument right here when he says, hey, we had this discussion years ago. Do we want to go another generation? Yes. And do we think there'll be multiple generations ahead of us? I actually think there probably is. So we're going all in. We're all in on Project Scarlett, and I want to compete. I want to compete in the right ways, which is why we're focused on crossplay and backward compatibility. There you go. All those people who just peddle ridiculous nonsense on social media all day long, completely destroyed. Streaming isn't taking away from the console. Microsoft is in this for the long haul. They want to compete, and they want to compete in the right ways, and Game Pass is going to be important for them. A strong revenue stream where they'll be able to basically take that money, reinvest in the studios, make bigger games, more games, and higher quality games, just like Netflix or just like HBO. And they're going to be doing this for years to come. And I like that. I like knowing that. I like hearing that Phil says, hey, we're competing. You know, like that is something that everybody, you know, PlayStation fans, Xbox fans, Nintendo fans should want to hear. Because when competition happens, you get good things. PlayStation's going to have to pivot and compete against Xbox. Same thing with Nintendo. And we as the gamers win. Microsoft makes a great console, then PlayStation has to make a great console. PlayStation make great games, Xbox has to make great games. Xbox creates this awesome consumer move with Game Pass. It forces PlayStation to start maybe adding their games to PlayStation Now, etc., etc. Remember, PlayStation Now was streaming only. It wasn't until Microsoft introduced Game Pass with downloads that PlayStation Now allowed you to download games. So like I said, competition is always absolutely 100% important. And even in this other interview, Phil reiterates that if you remember at the launch of the Xbox One, we were $100 more expensive and less powerful. So I won't be in that position. There's no doubt about that. As an industry that's growing so fast, we do think about price. We do think about performance as well. I'm not going to sacrifice performance for the sake of price. Now, I, for one, just want these reveals of these next generation consoles. I want to know what they can do. But I really enjoyed both these interviews from Phil Spencer from The Verge and X019. I'll link them below. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. How do you feel about Phil Spencer destroying these false narratives from these Twitter sycophants who are nobodies, who are just toxic clowns, and who just spew hate and nonsense 24/7? Let me know what you think about that and the whole Xbox Scarlett thing where they won't be beat on power and price because they learned their lesson. Let me know what you think about all that in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, found it funny, informational, insightful, whatever, hit the like button, hit that share button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.